Okay, good morning, OCCC automotive students. Today, I'm going to make us a little short video here on electrical circuits. And what we're going to do is build a series circuit, and it's a DC series circuit. And I'm going to just talk about it a little bit and show you a little bit about how it works and get it started. So this is going to be a very fundamental video today. And so we're going to start with our electrical board that we have here. Turn it on. So this board here has a lot of components inside of it, and as I build this, you'll see we have some parts here we can put together and make a circuit. We can make the circuit work, and we can also test it and explain a little bit about how electricity behaves in a series DC circuit. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little slide here first. We're going to talk about, and I'm going to build this circuit here, but we're going to talk about the 6 parts of all series circuits. And by the way, I am at home in the garage, so you might hear some noise in the background occasionally, but that's okay. All right, so for all series circuits have these 6 components to them. There's 6 parts, okay? We've got to have a power supply, okay? We'll talk more about that. We have to have circuit protection. We have to have a control device, a load, insulated wiring, and a ground to complete the circuit, okay? And all of those parts have to be in what we call continuity. There has to be continuity required to operate correctly. Continuity, they all have to be connected. Actually, they're connected in a loop, okay, like a circle. We'll talk more about that in class, but I want you to start thinking about that. These are the 6 parts, okay, and I'm going to put these parts on the board here in just a second. And they all have to be connected in a complete circuit with no breaks in it, no opens in it, for the load to operate, okay? So the 6 parts of all, and have that underlined, all series circuits have these 6 parts. Now they may look a little different from time to time, but they all have these parts, okay? So in our case here, our power supply comes from the box itself up here, okay? You can't see it on the video there, but it says 12 volts DC right here. We have a positive and a negative connection right here. So there's a transformer in here side that supplies us with voltage, all right? Let's turn on the voltmeter and see what it says this morning. We're going to set the voltmeter to volts DC, okay? We'll put the red lead in the red part and the black one over here, and it's going to read 12.04 volts. Okay, notice that there's a V right there, okay? So anytime we do a measurement, we're going to do it like that. It's going to say 12.04, and we're going to put a V by it so we know that that's a volt. We'll explain that some more as we go. But okay, so our power supply is right there. We have 12.04 volts. All right, so I'm going to add a fuse to this. But this is really what we call circuit protection, okay? So this is, it's hard to see in there, but it's a 10 amp fuse. It's red. It says 10 on the top of it. And it's a fuse, and you can see inside of it a little bit there maybe, a little loop in it. But this is a fuse or a circuit protection. There's several different types of circuit protection, but a fuse is certainly one of them. So we're going to connect that fuse to the power supply, okay, either side, doesn't matter, with our insulated wiring, okay? All right, next we're going to put in line here our control. This is a switch. This is just a manual switch that we can turn on and off, okay? Everybody's kind of seen something like that, maybe your old grandpa's truck or something like that, right? It's a switch. It just connects, opens and closes the circuit for us when we want it open and closed. All right, and we're going to connect that from the fuse to the switch, okay, just like that. So, all right, Now it's interesting to note that we also have a ground down at the bottom here. I'm not sure if that's in here or not. Yeah, the board down here at the bottom has a ground. So I'm going to put our ground in here and just go ahead and start talking about this a little bit. All right, so we've got our source voltage. By the way, our power supply, I'm often going to call that source voltage, okay? So we've got the 12.4 there. And as we come along, that voltage is going to come down each wire. See, we still have 12.4 there. All right? And then that voltage is going to go through the switch, through the fuse right here. And we can check it, and it's still 12.4. And it's still 12.4 here probably. But on this side of the switch, we have 0. That's because the switch is not on right now. If we turn the switch on, we get 12.4. Okay? Does that make sense? So my neighbor has decided to mow the yard right now. That's okay. Doesn't sound too bad. All right. So we're building this circuit here. Okay. So we got our power supply. We've got our circuit protection. In this case, it's a fuse, but there are different types of circuit protection. All right. Moving along. Here we have our switch, but this is really a control device. Okay. This is what's going to operate the circuit for us. Now, this is a very simple switch, but most of the things today on the cars are turned on and off by a control module instead. We'll talk more about that later, but anyway, we're still going to call this our control. All right, we're going to add one more thing to the circuit here, and this is going to be our load, okay? Our load. Our load is just simply a little bulb right here, okay? Just a simple little 194 bulb, they call it. That's the size of it, name of it. All right, we're going to add that to our circuit. Plug it in right here. Okay. All right. So we're going to take another red wire here, go from here to here, one side of the fuse. All right. So now we have almost all of our parts. We've got our power supply, we've got some insulated wiring, and we've got a circuit protection, we've got a control device, and we have a load. Okay, so the load is anything, any electrical component that we want to operate. It could be the headlights, it could be the horn, it could be the cooling fan for the engine, it could be the electric seats, the sunroof motor, anything that's electric on the car that runs on 12 volts is a load, okay? And the load is going to consume the voltage. Now, I haven't defined voltage or anything yet, but I'm going to come back to that. But still at this point here, we're following our path. We still got our 12.4 here, 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 and I'm going to turn the switch on, and now we're going to have it on this side. So we got voltage here, and we've got voltage to the bulb, but I don't have the last component. I don't have a ground yet. Okay, but I got 12 volts on this side of the bulb too. Okay, that's because the bulb is not working yet. It's not on yet, so the voltage is present on the ground side, if you will, of the bulb. Now, that'll make more sense as we develop these principles in class and as we go. So right now we're just doing a very simple thing. So the bulb doesn't work now because we don't have it connected to ground. Okay? All right, let's turn it off. So we've turned it off. Now we don't have any voltage on this side of the control. I'm going to take one more insulated wire, connect it to the bulb, our load. Okay? So now we have what looks like a complete circuit. Oops, yeah, I need to move that just a little bit. Anyway, there we go. You back up just a hair. Okay, there we go. So we've got a complete circuit now. So if we turn the control on, our bulb should light. Okay? And I'll use that word should, and I'm only going to say another word here too. We can expect that bulb to light. Okay? One of the things about automotive electricity is that it follows certain laws. Okay? And therefore, if we understand the circuit, all the parts of the circuit, we understand the laws, we can expect and predict certain outcomes. Okay? We know what it's supposed to read, and if it reads something different, our measurements are something different than we expect, then we know we have a problem. And depending on the readings, we know what the problem is too. Okay? But that's on down the line. Right now we're just talking about all the parts here of the circuit and a little bit about testing it. Alright, so here we go. We're going to turn the switch on. Voila. The light comes on. That's what we expected to happen because we now have a complete circuit. From here to here, and then it actually goes inside the box, it actually goes right back to here. Okay, this ground here and this ground here on the box is connected, just like it's connected on the car. Okay, the battery in the car has a power side that goes to the fuse boxes and all that kind of stuff, and the ground side goes to the engine block. Okay, goes directly to the engine block, and then there are cables that go from the block back to the frame, or from the battery to the frame, and therefore it makes a complete loop. Okay, all right, and we'll show that on the board in class. Okay, so we expected that to happen. All right, now a while ago we had our 12 volts up here, right, and here. Now it's dropped a little bit. That's because the circuit's working. Okay, we'll talk more about that too. All right, but we still have basically 12 volts, enough voltage to operate the bulb. Okay, and so coming into the bulb we have exactly 12 volts. All right, 1199, changed a little bit. The bulb's warming up a little bit. It's changing the dynamics just a hair. All right, now a while ago, before we had the bulb working, we had 12 volts on this side. But now that the bulb is working, okay, because of Ohm's law in the system's behavior that we know, we're going to expect a different result over here now. Anybody guess? The bulb, the load, uses the voltage that is available. Okay? So if it uses it, is it going to be the same amount on the other side or less on the other side of the load? Okay? Now, voltage is simply pressure. So we haven't defined that yet. Voltage is just pressure, but it's what pushes the electrons through the circuit. And the bulb is eating those up at the moment, so to speak. Well, it's eating up the voltage. Okay? Not the electrons. Electrons are flowing through it. Alright, so anyway, more or less. So we're going to have less on the other side. We expect that our load is going to consume all of the voltage. Okay? That's the rule. Alright, and it does. We don't have any voltage there now. So that's good. That is good. That's what we expect to happen in this case. Alright? Alright. So come on down, check it, and we should have 0, and that's what we want. So here we have our components again. We have our power supply, our circuit protection, our control, our insulated wiring to everything, our load, and then the ground. So the ground, I will tell you, is just as important in the operation of the circuit as the power is. Okay? Matter of fact, in class, you're going to hear me say multiple times that it only takes 2 things to make this load operate. Alright? Guess what they are? Power and ground. That's all it takes to make any load on the car operate. Now that sounds real simple, and it is. Okay? But we will expand on that in class and on the cars as we work on it. Alright. Alright, so that's a simple circuit, all 6 parts, and a little bit about what's going on there. Okay? In the next video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Ohm's law. Okay? All right. Ohm's law looks like this, okay? Ohm's law says E, or voltage, equals current times resistance. So if we know any of the two elements, we can calculate the third. So there's a little bit of algebra here, and we move the formula around. All right, I equals E over R, and R equals E over I. So we're going to do this in class and talk more about it. But this is the three elements that are happening in the circuit here. We have voltage, we have current, and we have resistance. Okay? Those are the three elements of electricity that are operating in this circuit right now that we're operating. Okay, so we're going to talk about all three of those in more detail in the next video, and how to test those also in the next video. All right? All right, any questions so far? Save them, write them down. We'll talk about it in class. All right? There we go. That's just a very basic introduction on the simple DC circuit and how to check the voltage in it. And we're going to check the other two elements and so forth, and expand this a little bit in the next video.